When you hear about review manuscript, what readily comes to your mind? There are different categories of papers, but our major concern today is how to write a review manuscript for publication. A review manuscript is an article that you prepare following a format of presentation. In academic circles, you prepare that in preparation for publication, because after preparing the article, you look for journals that have the area of write-up within their scope, and also the journal that accepts review manuscripts. So these are the things you get to know. There are different journals. Journals are outlets that accept manuscripts, articles for publication. It's good you understand this. You can either use article or manuscript, prepared write-ups in preparation for publication. So if you are preparing a draft, you can call it a manuscript, right? Or an article. But when you have sent it out to a journal and it is considered for publication and it is published, it becomes a paper. So it's good we understand the difference between manuscript and paper. So published manuscript is paper, right? Then before publication, we call whatever preparation, whatever write-up that you're doing, manuscript or article. So how do you prepare review article for publication? A review manuscript or paper is the one that looks at what other people have done, getting information from what other people have done, and building your own input to give a fresh insight to whatever that you have gathered. So a review paper has so many things to accomplish. One, it will make you to understand the extent to which previous scholars may have gone researching on your area of interest. Another thing is, it would enable you to observe a trend of development regarding your area of research interest. And finally, what a review article writing could help you to figure out could just be a gap in knowledge, right? So one is that you have ample information about what other people have done, and you're also equipped with a lot of data, a lot of information to enable you observe and conclude regarding the trend of development, regarding an area of study. And finally, it helps you to understand where previous scholars had not ventured into, where there are gaps in knowledge, gaps in literature. So what I mean by gaps in knowledge are the areas where scholars haven't really ventured into as to provide research information, as to provide information about those areas. So after studying previous works, you could now pinpoint, considering the phenomenon of your area of study, you could now pinpoint where there are gaps, and those gaps in knowledge, you could articulate them as your objectives of your current study, assuming you want to now conduct a research design to accomplish those gaps in knowledge. You can design your research and present to your supervisor for consideration. So that is, of course, how to find the objectives of your study. So if you don't know how to kickstart your final year research or final year project, the best way to do that is to do review, is to start writing review articles. If you want to get enough knowledge about your field of study, about your area of research, review article writing is key. So in this context, I would implore you to go look out for other people's work relating to your field of interest. Go to different databases, type your topic of research interest, and search to see what other people have done within that area. So I'm challenging you today to get started. There are so many ways to do that. So let's use, for instance, the Google Scholar. Open Google Scholar and in the search bar, type in your article's title. Type in the title of your research or the area you want to engage in your study, and you can filter that to the year that you want to have your results. So you could just want to have your results in 2021 alone. You could filter that to 2021 alone and have all results appear for the search 2021. It means all the publications relevant to that your area of research in 2021 will be brought for you to see. So it's now left for you to look for the topics, research areas that are most relevant or most suitable for your own topic of engagement. So you pinpoint them, you open them and read. Basically, what you need is the abstract and also the conclusion. You will need a bit of the methods when those things are not captured in either the abstract or the conclusion. So these two things are what you need to comfortably review the paper. You may not have ample time to start reading from beginning to end. The abstract can accommodate all the necessary details that you need to have from a paper. And what is an abstract? Some folks think that an abstract is a summary of a research. No. Abstract is actually a section of a research manuscript that contains key elements of the research. So a good abstract should be able to have 4 key elements. One is what the study is all about. So if you're doing a review paper on so and so thing, you should be able to begin the abstract by saying what your review paper is all about. And also, if you filtered your search, maybe from 2000 to 2024, you should be able to include that this review study is about so and so thing, or this review study concerns so and so thing within the period 2015 to 2024, or this current study concerns the review of recent developments in this area from 2015 to 2024, clearly stated. Then the second key element would be the methods used. How did you get your information? How did you get your data? Since we're talking about review manuscript, how were you able to get your information? Did you consult Science Direct? Were you able to get your information from different journals? So in that Science Direct, what were the journals that were able to get valuable papers relevant to this your current study? So you should be able to articulate the number of papers that you sourced. Mind you, there are different methods of review paper presentation. There is a mini review, critical review, systematic review, and so many of them. But One key fact is that all of these nomenclatures about reviews follow the same fundamental principle. What I'm talking about is the root of review manuscript writing. So what concerns the write-up should be properly captured. So the abstract, apart from what the research is all about and the methods employed, the third key element should be the key findings. Review paper has gone beyond what other people have done, that is, writing what other people have done, to bringing a fresh insight from what other people have done and putting it in such a way that should be captivating, because you want to draw people to read your manuscript. You should make it scintillating. It should be fascinating for people to behold and study and reference you accordingly. So these are the key things you must have to know. After the third element, the fourth element is the recommendation, if you have any. So this final element is not compulsory. It's only when you have something to recommend that you can add. So there are four key elements. The fourth one isn't that compulsory, but the first three elements are compulsory. So the key findings could also be known as specific results. So those specific results you were able to get from your review or from your research work, you should be able to articulate them and include them in the manuscript as part of the abstract. So your abstract should be attractive to whoever that is going through your work. So review manuscript has a format of presentation. One is the title. Two would be the authors that wrote the manuscript and their affiliations. Then the third thing is the abstract. The fourth is the introduction. The fifth will constitute the section that talks about the phenomenon of whatever you're reviewing. So, for instance, if you're reviewing your manuscript on corrosion of something, so the concept of that corrosion, that phenomenon should be discussed in this section. Then, another section should be provided to talk about previous work on different areas of discussion. Remember, your review manuscript topic shouldn't be so narrow and it shouldn't be so elaborate. It should target some areas of concern and you limit your discussion to those areas. Like if this review article is talking about corrosion, right? And I'm so much interested in green inhibitors for preventing corrosion. Now this is on one hand, right? Green inhibitors for preventing corrosion. This is on one hand. Then on the other hand, I'm also looking at the toxicity of the conventional inhibitors for protecting the metal from corroding. So this one is green inhibitors, which is replacing these conventional synthetic inhibitors that could be effective but may have some environmental concerns. So I'm using these two. I'm reviewing these two aspects of corrosion. Inhibition on one hand, using green materials, and inhibition using synthetic materials that are effective to inhibit corrosion but may have some environmental concerns. This one is perceived not to have environmental concerns. So you could see what you could now do in this section. You dedicate a section to talk about this one, and dedicate another section to talk about this one. Then You bring out fresh insights from this one based on what you have been talking about, right? So it doesn't limit, it's not limited to what Mr. A did and what Mr. B did. It goes beyond that to which other studies are in agreement with what this one did, and what other studies disagreed with what this one did. What are the scientific and engineering insights that could be drawn from this outcome? So this is what the review manuscript writing is all about. It brings out the critical information about what other people had done. So you're not just presenting what other people have done, you are also expanding it to see those that agreed with this view and those that did not agree, and what made them not to agree, right? And you're also bringing scientific insights drawn from that study, right? So that is what review manuscript writing is all about. You are also expected to, from the data, produce your own figures for illustration and discussion. So you are looking at other people's work in your own light, ensuring that it is seen in a fresh or novel perspective. So others have done their work, you are gathering information, you are expected to illustrate the trend of development within that aspect of study and draw some engineering and scientific insights from those studies. And when you've done that, you should be able to draw conclusions and also make some recommendations. But the most important thing also is to identify some gaps in knowledge within the aspect of review. So those gaps in knowledge can more or less constitute the objectives of study for the future studies, especially if you want to transit your work to a research work following what you've discovered as gaps in knowledge. Then you could now design a research that would now work on those identified gaps with the view of providing answers to fill up those gaps in knowledge. So that is how you go about review manuscript writing. And there is also a reference section, the bibliography, where you give detailed information about the sources of the information that you gathered for the study. So let me just give you an assignment to do. Visit Science Direct or Google Scholar, whichever one, sciencedirect.com or Google Scholar. Just type Google Scholar and visit googlescholar.com. In the search bar, type in the project topic, that is your research area topic, the area you want to engage in research. Just type the topic, articulate a topic, a good topic for that area. Just type it there and search. After searching, go down and look for where to filter to a year, a particular year of study. Do it year by year, all right? So within that year, just get 5, review 5 articles of your choice. And those 5 articles should be relevant to your area, the area that you typed, the topic that you typed. So review that and get back to me. Let me see what you have done. Now use your own words to review those papers. What I mean by your own words is that you don't copy verbatim what other people have done. You look at what they have done and use your own words to represent that, to review that. So you don't copy verbatim, use their own idea and reference them. So after writing with your own words, you reference them because you got that knowledge from them. So there are so many referencing styles. I've done a video about citations, so you may want to look at the video the card up here for the video about different citations and learn how to use them. And I've also made a video about using Zotero to manage your references. If you haven't watched it, I'll put the card up here for you to go watch. So these references are easy to handle, just for you to know how to use the reference manager to manage your references. I prefer the use of Zotero, but there's also Mendeley and so many other ones that are paid. But Zotero is not paid. It's free to use. That's why I prefer Zotero to other reference managers, because it's easy to use and it's also free to use. So I recommend Zotero for use as a reference manager to handle your references. So review the 5 papers. Include the DOI, the digital object identifier of each paper that you review, and send to me. Thank you for listening. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye bye.